I'll give an example. I remember at a stage when my kids were in school in England, we used to have all these arguments about they had friends who went to school only in business and first class. And so, and when children enter the plane, we have certain flights we call school bus. You say, are you going to the left or to the right? And all of that. So one day, one of my sons asked me, and I said to him, see, when you go in that economy, every person that you see there, adults, worked hard to buy the ticket.
Exactly.
You are there for free. Because somebody else paid for it. That the next time you fly business, when they're really young, they have to fly with you. So they fly where you fly. But after, when you send them to the back, they will now complain. You now remind them that somebody worked hard to pay for that. So you put them there deliberately. So we have to be intentional. That's what I've realized. We as parents must decide, what are the values that I treasure? What are the things that I want to ensure that my children grow up with? I always say, I do not want to steal my children's dreams. And how do you not steal your children's dreams? If you use your own success to kill their own ambition, you have stolen their dreams. Because you set them up not to have a need. So you must intentionally create things in their lifestyle that helps to nurture them to want to be something. From the allowances you give to ensuring that for a certain stage of their life, even if you can afford first class, why should you put them there? When you are a student and you're going to school, then you sit in certain places because that's ideal for you at that point. At a point, my husband and I decided that we'll give our children instead of weekly allowances when they were in boarding school in England, they'll get their allowance for the term in one go.
They have to manage it.
If you finish spending it,
1 week.
That's your own problem.
Yeah.
Because you are going to then pay the price of not having that discipline. Then, if you go shopping with children over the holidays, they want to buy everything when you're paying for it.
Yes.
Then we decided to change the pattern. This is your budget for the holiday. If you buy one thing with it. It's nobody's problem.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you start saying, I can't afford this, I can't afford this, I can't afford it. Honestly, because we're just in a time and a season that is difficult to raise children because the influences are high. The children are battling a whole world view that runs from one end of the world to the other. Helping them to find their cultural context and establishing the values that we were raised with, that becomes the responsibility of each one of us, and it has to be deliberate and intentional. Now, what is also important for us is, as husband and wife, we must act like a team with the children, otherwise they'll play us.
Okay. Easy.
So we need to play both. The reality is, we're in the 21st century. Our children are different from us. They're growing up with so much influence. It's a real struggle for them to stand, not just by their own choices, but just the environment that they're in. So they need a lot more engagement and support from us. We have to learn how to communicate with them. We must find how to endear ourselves to them such that we're their first line of communication. Otherwise, they would share their fears with their friends and they would get the wrong counsel. So we need to engage. So you're right in talking about communicating. There's also a moment to chastise a child, but we must decide what is appropriate at what time, and each child is different. I have 3 sons, they're 3 nations. I would say women run multi-nations.
Yes.
So you must run 4 nations in your house. Well, by the time you count your husband, it becomes 5.
5 nations.
So it's really for us to try and understand the nature of each child. Find the way of communicating with each child, because it's different. The way to get through to one, don't use the same rule for all our children. And honestly, I don't know that we can do it without praying. Because we really need divine help for this time and season. We have to be very discerning, and women are better at that because we have greater intuition. So you must be able to sense things before they happen, and you must see a trend that you can nip in the bud. As much as you want to love, but also as women, we mustn't overlove in a way that they take advantage of it. One of the biggest challenges I find with this generation is there's such a consuming generation. It's like I go to a restaurant and you find 2 young ladies or 2 young men, and they're having dinner, they're having lunch, and you're thinking in your head what the bill for that dinner is. And they're there as often, and then you're wondering, really? How much do they make? What kind of job and all of that. So their own money is more towards lifestyle. Okay? There's time for lifestyle living, and there's need for lifestyle living, but there's also need for what you said about wealth building earlier. To understand that the season to build and the season to spend, they're two different seasons. But at no season can you not have a lifestyle, but it's about how you appropriate your resources. To keep it simple, every generation will have different types of opportunities. They'll also have different types of challenges. For this generation, the type of opportunities they have are different from the generation of my generation. And so building all this, being an influencer, all the digital, internet-related businesses require a slightly different structure. So if they're able to take those opportunities successfully, all good for them. I mean, fantastic. However, there's some fundamentals that do not change. The fundamental of you learning how to deal with people, that is still important. The fact that if you don't learn to put some structure into what you do, sustainability becomes a challenge.